Today I want to talk about mixing perfect, vibrant greens. And I'm going to explain why sometimes when we mix blue and yellow, which everyone knows creates green, it doesn't come out exactly the way we want it to. So I'm going to explain color bias, which sounds confusing, but it isn't, I promise. And I will show it to you in a really simple and easy to understand way. Why sometimes our blue and yellow combinations just don't work. And so we're going to get started right away, and we will play with color. We'll swatch, and then you can go ahead and experiment and play with your own paint colors at home. So let's get started. Okay, I'm just going to start out with the color wheel so that we can understand a little bit better why certain greens and certain blues don't make the perfect green. So what we want is to understand why some of our blues and some of our yellows don't work as well when we're trying to create green. Okay, so think about it like this. What we want is some really beautiful, gorgeous, vibrant greens. And sometimes we just can't find that in a tube green. Okay, so like sometimes the tube greens just fall a little bit flat, and we really want something beautiful and vibrant. And we can create that with our different colors of blue that we might have. And so before you start your own experiments, I would say you're going to gather up all the blue colors you have in your studio, all the yellows you have in your studio, and we're going to talk about which ones work best. So when we're talking about blues, it's not just any old blue. So the median point for blue is your primary blue. So this is a primary cyan. I'm going to put it right in the middle. And this is our primary yellow, which I'm going to put right in the middle. And these are not biased in any way. So they are just a neutral hue of yellow and a neutral hue of blue. So then we have ones that are biased more cool or more warm. So cobalt blue and ultramarine blue are more warm blues. So they are closer to red on the color wheel. So they have a little bit of red pigment in them. Now, the ones we want when we are creating, now these are the ones, actually the ultramarine and cobalt are the ones that create the beautiful purples because they are closer to red and violet on the color wheel. So you will get a less intense, you can certainly try to make green with them, but you're going to get a way less intense and vibrant green because they have a little bit of the complement of green, red, in them. So that's why we say they are biased. They are a little bit biased to the warm side. Now, manganese blue and phthalo blue are more cool. So they are closer on the color wheel to green or yellow than primary cyan. Manganese blue is very cool. So now the same thing with your yellow paints. So cadmium yellow light, cadmium lemon, those paints are very cool yellows. Other cool yellows are cadmium yellow primrose. The Hansas are cooler yellows. But then we have on the warm side, the ones closer to red, cadmium yellow medium, cadmium yellow deep, yellow ochre, Naples. Those are all very warm. So they're going to also create greens that are less vivid and warmer. So they're going to be not as intense, and the chroma will not be as bright. So you can never create paint a paint color that's as intense and vivid and bright when you are using the warmer blues and yellows. And we can do some experimentation with that so you can see them side by side when we're swatching. And so that is the difference, and that's how we know that if a color is biased, and that's all it means. It's closer on the color wheel to the cool shade or the warm shade. And so that's how we know which ones to pick, for instance, when we're creating a certain color. So like when we're going for red violet or red or violet, we're always going to want ultramarine blue or maybe even a cobalt, a scarlet red, an alizarin crimson to create those purples, because those are the ones that are closest to blue. And we're not going to go ahead and pick these really cool ones because then we're going to get mud. Okay, so because they have a little bit of the complement green in them, so we or yellow in them, so we try to stay away from those. So we're going to hop inside, we're going to get started on mixing, and then we're going to do some swatching. I wanted everyone to know that I have 2 free color theory downloads available on my webpage. I'll put the links in the description box below. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, as it really helps my channel grow, and I do appreciate it so much. If you have any questions at all about this video, please leave them in the comments section and I'll be happy to get back to you. Thanks for being here. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take manganese blue and we're going to mix that with, I'm going to do 2 of these. And then I'm going to mix that with 2 different yellows. Okay. The first one is cadmium yellow light. I'll put that there. And then I'm going to mix it with cadmium lemon. Okay. Okay. So okay. All right. Now I'm going to take a very small amount because this is cadmium yellow light that I'm starting with. All right. And I'm just going to add the blue in until I get a very nice green color. I'm going to make a darker version down here. And I'm going to stir that in. Because now I just want to make one with just the colors, and we're not going to get involved with tints, tones, or shades or anything like that. This one is very yellow. Okay, so that we have a beautiful vivid green. So I'm going to get in here and I am going to swatch this into my book. Now I've already made the boxes here. So this is cadmium yellow light, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the light color with less blue on top. And just wipe this off a little bit and grab some of this. And this one's just a little bluer, has a little bit more blue in it. Very nice. Very rich and vivid. Okay, I'm going to try the same thing with the cadmium lemon that I have here. I'm going to Mix a small amount in first. Now it's going to be a little bit of a different color. Cadmium lemon is a little bit, I think it's a little brighter of a color. Yeah, it's very nice. Okay, so now I'm going to take just some of this color, move it down, add a little bit more of the blue in, and it's not going to be nearly as dark. It is a lighter, cooler color than the cadmium light. Okay, so I'm going to swatch this in to the book as well. It's a very pretty color. These are beautiful spring greens, and with spring finally around the corner for lots of us, I am gearing myself up for lots of flower paintings. Okay, I'm getting these into my book here, and this is my swatching and color theory book, so I can't wait to get them in. Okay. All right, so now we're going to try those same yellows with phthalo blue. Okay, and they're going to look different. Okay, so I'm going to give a word of warning. Phthalo blue is extremely intense. So this is phthalo blue green shade. There's also phthalo blue red shade, which is the little bit warmer version. They're both cool blues. Okay, so I'm going to put a little tiny bit in here, which you can see it's extremely intense. It's gorgeous. So this is going to be the light version, and then I'm going to scoop some up and move it down here. Add just a little bit more and get a lovely deep version of it. And this is cadmium yellow light. And I'm going to add a little bit more to this bottom one and get a little bit more of a deeper, intenser version for my book, for my swatching book. Okay, put that in here. Cadmium yellow light with phthalo blue goes here. Very nice. It's very similar, but just slightly different. Especially I think the lighter version is different. It's just a little bit different. Okay, now I can't wait to see what the lemon looks like. I think it's going to be quite a bit different. Okay, now, really want to wash my brush. Okay. So it's good to have paper towel or baby wipes handy while you're doing these kind of projects. Okay, so now, same thing, be very, very careful about the amount you add in because this is a very strong color. Okay, now this is cadmium lemon, okay? So it's a little bit different. Again, gorgeous. I'm going to take about half of that and a lot more. Ooh, I made a really dark one. It was really, I got a little carried away there. That's okay. All right, so now I'm going to put this here, the dark version on the bottom. I put a little bit too much of that blue, but that's okay. It's still gorgeous. That's almost an emerald green. It's gorgeous. Beautiful. Okay, now I gotta be very careful to wash all that off before I grab my lighter color. Here's the light version. Very pretty. So this is the lemon, cadmium lemon, and phthalo blue. Okay, really nice, pretty. Very nice. Okay. Okay, very pretty. So far we have some luscious colors. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the warm yellows, Naples yellow, yellow ochre. I'm going to take 2 warm blues. I'm going to take cobalt blue and ultramarine blue, and we're going to swatch those up and see the difference on this piece of paper here. Okay, let's meet back here. Before we even get started with this, what I want to explain about what happens, a little bit about what happens when we start to get into too much warmth. So when we start to get, and you could actually see just by looking at these colors, like how, let me see, how much warmer these yellows are. And because these blues also have a little bit more, you know, they're just a little bit warmer, we start to get into a little bit of an issue with them almost being complementary colors, because these are starting to border on an orange tint. And I'll show you why that's a problem. Because when we look at our color wheel, when we start to go, when we're here, we're mixing a green. When we start to go farther out or closer to orange, we almost have the blue-orange complement. And when we mix that, we get a gray, or we create mud. And so that's why the bias is so important, and when we're mixing color. And so we don't want to ever get into that. And you can see it here. They're showing that when you blend orange and blue, you're going to get like kind of a muddy, dark, kind of a grayish green color. Okay, and so we don't want that. We want a beautiful, vibrant, bright green. We don't want that mud or that muddy mix. Now, I tell people to experiment with using or mixing complements intentionally to create dark neutrals, and that's what they are. You're creating a dark neutral when you mix your complementary colors, and that's okay, because that's a whole different thing. You're doing it on purpose. You're trying to figure out what beautiful dark neutrals can I create. But when you're trying to create a vibrant secondary color, you don't want to mix complements accidentally. Okay, so right now I'm gonna clean my brush. Now I have 2 things of water, so I start in the dirtier water, and then I clean it off in the cleaner water. Okay, get my color wheel out of here so I don't get paint on it. So now I'm gonna start with cobalt blue and Naples yellow. That's the first one I'm gonna do. Okay, and I'm going to mix a little bit of that together and see what I get. It's very gray and sad. It's a very sad gray color. Okay, so you can see it's so depressing. It's a very sad color. And even if I mix just a little of the blue in, it's just a very blah color. So I'm going to make this one be the light one and that one be the dark one. And we can, oh boy, that's terrible. Yeah, that's awful. Okay, just not good. Okay, So these don't look green at all. They just look like mud. And I'm going to put them in my book. So yellow ochre and cobalt blue. Here we go. It's bad. This looks like, it looks like camouflage. Although you probably could use this for like, if you were trying to get some you know, dying foliage for fall or something like that, or certain types of plants, I suppose. You could use those colors. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and mix the yellow ochre with the cobalt blue. And we'll see what happens there. All right, so I'm going to take some really clean cobalt blue. And I'm going to mix it with my yellow ochre. First I'm gonna, oh wow, that's almost a brown there. I'm gonna put a lot of yellow and see what I get. Oh my, yep, so this is, oh my goodness, even worse. This is a very muddy brown color. Okay, this is yellow ochre and blue. You can see it is so neutral. It is a beautiful brown. I mean, if you're looking for a brown, it's great. But this is exactly why we need to know about bias. I'm going to add more blue into it. And this is almost going to be like a dark gray now. And I'm going to put that on the bottom, and that'll be the dark shade. And we're going to put that on the bottom. That one's almost like a deep, that's almost like battleship gray, right? Okay. That's because they're almost complementary colors. Naples yellow is almost orange, and we're mixing it with blue. Okay. Let's see what happens with ultramarine blue, which is the warmest blue. This is the one I use to make purple all the time. So it is the closest to red. And then Naples yellow, which is also extremely warm. So we'll try those two. Okay. Now I need another blob of Naples. Now these are my, like, two of my favorite colors. They're just not great for mixing greens. Okay. All right, so let's get going on those. So ultramarine blue. I love Naples because it's like a buttercreamy color. It's gorgeous. But, okay. I'm gonna just grab a big bunch. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, that's not much better. Kind of yucky. And let's see. I'm gonna put a little of this in. That'll be the light one. And then we'll add a little bit more blue in a place and see what that looks like. Whew, not good. That's army green with extra blue in it. It's like an army green. Now I messed up my light, so I'm gonna add more yellow and do the top one again because I Okay, so now I'm going to mix it with yellow ochre, and we'll see what that does. Okay. Well, this is an interesting experiment for sure. This is unbelievable. Okay. It sure looks like army surplus clothes. Okay, that's the lighter color. And now we're going to add more blue. This is yellow ochre and ultramarine blue. Oh my goodness. And this is also coming out like a very dark, kind of a battleship gray color. Yeah, yellow ochre is really taking it to a very dark. Now, yellow ochre is really an earth tone, which, you know, you can use this. Like this could be a really nice neutral, dark in a landscape, or, I mean, I like the dark neutral colors like we've just created here, like a lot of times rather than a black. So sometimes I'm looking for a dark neutral like this in a painting that has just a little bit of color in it. Like maybe I would add more blue until it was more blue, and then paint this in instead of using black. Because black tends to flatten out a painting. So adding a little bit more blue, it's just a little softer than using black or even a Payne's gray, and it's a really pretty color. So here I added that to this mixture. I added a little bit more ultramarine, and this is actually a really nice neutral. And I'm going to put it underneath here because it's really, that's actually lovely. So even though I'm not getting beautiful greens with these, we're getting beautiful neutrals. So I'm going to do the same thing here with the cobalt blue, add it to this dark, and see what happens. I don't know if we'll get the same result. The ultramarine blue, because it's so much darker, might yield a better result. This one's a little bit lighter, and I think I like the one with the ultramarine better. But as far as beautiful neutral colors, you might be able to use some of these darks for shadows, for negative space in a landscape, like interior dark areas in a landscape or something. Definitely they could be darks or shadows. But the real winners as far as vibrant blues here are the manganese blue, phthalo blue, cadmium yellow light, and cadmium lemon. So you can see the difference and why color bias really plays a huge role in color mixing. So I hope I explained that well for you. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and I'd be happy to answer your questions. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel because it helps it grow, and I do really appreciate it so much. Thanks for being here, and please come again soon.